In this video, I'm going to show you the best way to set up your Google My Business listing or Google Business Profile so you can grow your business faster. The first thing you want to do is set up your categories correctly. Google allows you to have up to 10 different categories, but keep in mind that the primary category that you select, aka the first category, holds more ranking weight. So choose that really wisely. Okay. Also, another pro tip here, you can actually swap out your primary category based on what season it is. Also, keep in mind, there is no such thing as category dilution, so don't be worried about adding too many categories.
You serious?
As long as they're relevant, add them all. The next thing you want to do is check for duplicate listings. The fastest way to do this is to go over to Google Maps, start typing in the name of your business, and see what populates. If you're a business type that also has practitioners, so for example, a real estate agent or a lawyer, Google often likes to create listings for these as well, just because they like making our lives miserable. So make sure you check for these by searching those people's names as well. Keep in mind, you want to check people that currently work for you, but also people that used to work for you, because there might be listings out there for both. They could be getting reviews, and you definitely want to monitor and claim those. For the address section, it's really important to keep in mind, if you are adding a business or a listing that is close to another one that you own, there's a strong possibility that that listing could actually cannibalize the efforts of some of your other listings. So it's important to see, like, is my current listing already ranking here? Stop and think about whether or not you even want to add an additional listing. For service area businesses, there is a section there where Google allows you to fill in the different areas that you service. Contrary to what some people might think, this does not impact where you rank, but we do suggest filling it out as it kind of gives you a nice little visual so your customers can see how far you're willing to travel. If you're a storefront and you actually have a physical location, you can simply ignore this section. For the hours, definitely make sure you fill these out. You do not want Google prompting users to fill them out for you because they could get them wrong. Also, make sure that you add special hours, such as things like holidays, so the customers don't show up when you're closed and leave you a nice negative review. For the website field, we call this the GMB landing page or the GBP landing page, but this has a lot of impact on where you rank. So usually for most businesses, the default option should be the home page, but you also might want to consider if you want to link to a different page on your website instead. Okay. There are also different types of links that you can add to your listing depending on what business category you're in. So sometimes there's things like menus or appointment URLs or booking links. This varies based on the business type. If there's an option to add them, definitely make sure you do. Also, make sure you add UTM codes so that you can track these better in Google Analytics. Attributes are little details about your business, and Google is constantly updating these. They vary a lot based on what business categories you have selected. Keep in mind that some of these can impact ranking. Specifically, we found the identity attributes impact where you rank on Google. So for example, if you are a women-led business and you add that attribute, it will impact your ability to rank for things like women-owned businesses when people search like that on Google. For the opening date, when you add this to Google, people often default to the date that that specific location opened, which makes sense. That being said, the way it actually displays on Google, it says like been in business since, and it says how many years you've been around. So I would not suggest actually defaulting to the actual date that that location opened. Instead, I would suggest using the date that the business as a whole came into existence. This will make it so that Google properly says how long you've actually been in business. For the messaging section on Google, I would definitely check this option as long as you plan on actually responding to your customers. Let me tell you, I've contacted a lot of businesses with this option that just ignore me, and if you're one of those, don't do it. For the managers and owners of your listing, I often see that businesses will hire millions of SEO companies and they'll just continue to add more and more people to their listing over the years. This is a great way to get your profile suspended, so I strongly suggest not doing that. Make sure you monitor this section and add and remove people as necessary, but keep it to a minimum. The more people you have, the more liabilities you have, so it's good to keep a check on this at all times. For the GMB cover photo, Google likes to pretend like they give business owners control of this by allowing you to specify which photo you want as your cover photo. They're lying. Liar! It makes people think that they have full control, when in reality, Google likes to have full control. So what you should keep in mind for this section is that Google wants an exterior image. So if you give them an image of a logo, for example, they're probably just going to ignore you and choose a different one that they like instead. Go with a really nice picture of the exterior of your office or storefront, and that is basically what Google wants to see. If you don't have a storefront, like you're a service area business, we usually suggest choosing something like a picture of your van or company vehicle. Google tends to like those and preference those as well. In addition to the cover photo, also make sure that you add all the other relevant photos that Google has giving you options to fill in. So things like team photos, interior photos, etc. When it comes to questions and answers, this is something I see a lot of big brands fail miserably at. They don't monitor this section. They don't even realize people are asking questions on their listings, so they simply ignore it. What ends up happening is disasters like this, where customers respond to this question, don't necessarily give the right answer, or people use it as a ranting section. What a lot of people don't realize is it's actually pretty easy to report these, and our success rate on getting Google to remove things that are rants is pretty high. Google never intended for this to be a section for someone to complain about your business, so if you're not monitoring and looking at this, you could be missing a huge opportunity. Another thing about questions and answers is that you do have some control over which one actually gets displayed in the knowledge panel, so make sure you have a bunch of people up about both the question and the answer for the one that you would like displayed. For the product section on Google, make sure you fill this in regardless if your business actually sells products. If all you do is services, that's fine. You can use this section to fill in services as well. It just helps add a little more visibility to your profile. For the services section, there are two different types of service options that Google has. The first one we call predefined services, and they look kind of like this. These are ones that Google automatically has that you can select from. These impact ranking, so this is really important to not forget about. You can also add custom services, so just fill in whatever you want. But for this section, we do suggest using emojis. We've actually successfully been able to have business listings show up in the 3-pack with emojis, and they look really cool. For Google Posts, we often get a lot of questions around this, so we did an in-depth study to find out what types of posts people are more likely to interact with. We found by a landslide that offer posts are the way to go. So make sure you utilize that post type. We also looked at how frequently a business should post. We landed on about once a month as the average that we think would work best and be most efficient. Now, that being said, if you're a business that has lots of specials or things that change like day to day or week to week, it's totally fine to post more often. It could be good to get more information out to your customers if things are regularly changing. Also, you can add things like special events to your listing using posts as well.